Hello, welcome once again to Pale Blooms and Beyond. Thank you for joining us today. If you do like the programming you see here and the musicians and artists I visit with, please be sure and hit the like button and also subscribe to the channel. Steve Jameson is an English singer, songwriter, comedian, musician, actor, and dancer. Over his career, Steve has worked with Elvis, the Beatles, and Judy Garland. In the comic arena, he has worked with the Rat Pack, Lenny Bruce, Jack Benny, George Burns, and Milton Berle. During the 60s, Steve went by Steve Gold in the duo The Truth with Frank Aiello. There were several singles released in the mid to late 60s and a compilation, Who's Wrong, Mod Bedlam 1965 to 69, released in 2015 on RPM. Tracks would also appear on various artist compilations over the years. In 1973, Steve recorded his self-titled solo album, which is my first encounter with his solo music. During the mid-70s, as Nosmo King, there were a few singles with the Javells. A couple of more singles appeared in 1977 as Stephen Jameson. And today my guest is enjoying a career in comedy as his alter ego, Sol Bernstein. Well, welcome, Steve.
Hi, Greg. Good to be here. I'm flattered.
All right.
I didn't realize I was so interesting.
All right. Well, you are.
I just thought I was a boring old guy.
No, you are very interesting. Well, where were you born?
I was born in North London, Stamford Hill in North London. Interesting. I always heard that I was born in a private nursing home, and I thought my parents didn't have any money. How did that happen? And how it happened was it was before the NHS started.
Oh, is that right? Okay.
Yeah, so unless it was a charitable hospital, which I think there was one in Hackney.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just happened to be born there. I always felt very posh, born in the private place. Yeah, I was born in December, 6th of December 1946, and I think the National Health Service started a year or two later.
Oh, okay. All right. All right. Well, we won't let too many people know that. Okay. We'll just keep it
No,
between.
okay. Don't think I'm a snob.
Yeah, right. 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 Let them think that. Well, do you recall your early childhood growing up?
Yes, I was a real weakling. I was never into sport, so kids, kind of either bullied me or ignored me completely. Um, and my life changed when I was about 8 years old, and it's not kind of public knowledge, but I had two friends, two kids that I became friendly with. One was a boy called Melvin Fields, I lived at 58, he lived at 28. But on the other side of the road lived a boy who was a few months younger than me called Mark Feld, who was actually Mark Bolan
Oh, yes.
of
I knew
T Rex.
that name sounded familiar. Yes. Yes, Mark.
Yeah, and we all went to the same primary school.
Yeah.
And I got into music kind of really young. My parents would play Tony Bennett, Ella Fitzgerald, Sinatra, Dean Martin, Perry Como, all that kind of Peggy Lee. So I really loved music from a kid. And my mum sent me out to do some shopping one day. There was a little Jewish delicatessen on the corner. And I went, and Mark, who I'd seen at primary school, was sitting on his wall outside his house playing a guitar.
Yeah.
I mean, he couldn't play it, but he was messing around with it. And I just crossed the road. I was really intrigued because he must have been 9 in the September, and I was going to be 10 in December.
Yeah.
So I chatted to him, and then my parents bought me my first guitar 3 months later in the December.
Did they? Okay. Did you take any
And
lessons or
we,
just? Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
you know, we were great friends from kids. Read, I think the autobiography or biography. He talks about a group. Well, we never had a name. I don't know where he got the name from, but it was
Yeah.
me, him. My friend Melvin used to play. He wasn't a drummer, but he had a little set of drums. He played drums, and there was also one of the singers was a girl. I'm guessing you will know her, Helen Shapiro.
Oh, for sure. Yes.
who
yes,
who she was so famous that she did a tour where the Beatles supported her, but by the end of the
yes.
tour, it turned around that they
It,
were
it,
she was on first and they were closing.
it flips. She's still around, and I reached out to her to do an interview. I did,
Yes, she
and
is.
and she wrote back. And she said no, she's not doing interviews these days or whatever. But yeah, I thought that would have been a
Yeah,
nice one, to talk to her.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah. I had lunch with her about 5 years ago.
Did you? Did you?
I
Okay.
can't remember if I saw her. I saw her on Facebook or something,
Uh-huh.
and I got in touch with her and said it'd be lovely to catch up.
Yeah.
And I went out with her, and her cousin was also a part of the singing group. A girl called
Yes. Okay.
Susan Singer, who still sings now under the name of Sue Holiday. And I
Okay.
think, and Susan had a Ben, and he was involved as well. And, don't forget, we were like 11,
Right.
12 years. No, no,
Right.
younger. We were like 10, 11. We were still at primary schools. We hadn't even gone to second school yet. So
Right.
that's
You were.
basically my youth. And then I had little
Yeah.
groups
Yeah. We'll talk
from the, I
about
don't know, from
from there's still some lagging on your video and stuff. I hope it's not going to really affect the outcome. But talk
okay,
about. Can you remember one of the first singles or albums that you got?
that I bought
Yes.
singles. I'm guessing Hound Dog, Elvis,
Okay. Okay.
Peggy Sue, certainly.
Ah. Okay.
Um, and I tell you what, another one which I loved. I think I'm right. Mari's making eyes at me, but the Johnny Otis show with
Yes. Johnny
was it
Otis.
Mari Adams and the Three Tons of Joy,
Okay. Oh, that sounds familiar. All right. All right.
and
Wow.
that would have been my early stuff. So it would have been Elvis, Buddy Holly.
Yeah.
Um, John, I probably bought Long Tall Sally, Little Richard. Adored Little Richard.
Yes. Yes.
I mean, just that whole thing. I don't know. Fats Domino. My cousin turned me on to Fats Domino. He was a mad Fats Domino fan. So when I went to his house, he played. And I thought, God, where's this Chuck Berry?
Yes. Yes.
Where's this stuff coming from? Well, it was coming from America. That's where it was coming from.
Yeah, yeah. Well, a guy I talked to recently, he said he went into a restaurant or a diner over there, and they had a jukebox, and Ray Vaughan, Buddy Holly's Ray Vaughan was
Yeah,
playing,
yeah,
and it just struck him right away. He said, "Wow, what is this?" Hadn't heard anything like that before. And he sat there and he
yeah,
listened to it for he said like 30 minutes or so. He kept putting in money to play, play it over and over and
yeah.
over again. So yeah.
Well,
Well,
that
go ahead.
reminds me of a little story. Sorry, I'm interrupting. I'm
No,
sorry.
no, no, that's fine.
Mark
That's
Mark and I had gone out somewhere. I don't know where we'd gone, but we were coming back, and about 250 yards from where we lived, from our street, there was a kind of working man's cafe, and they had a jukebox, and we used to have a
yes,
Coca-Cola or something like that. And I
yes,
looked on the jukebox, and we both loved Dean Martin and Jerry Lewis.
yes, yes.
And there was a song called "Whole Lot of Shaking" and going on. Jerry Lee Lewis, and I said, "Oh, that must be Jerry Lewis." And first, and I put the money in. The first time I heard "Whole Lot of Shaking," and it was, and I thought, "My God, what the hell is this?"
Yeah,
I mean, I'll
how
tell
did,
you what. I mean, I don't know how old you are.
yeah,
I'm gonna be 80 this year. But when I'm going back, when I'm listening, when kids talk to me, oh, it was when the Beatles started, when punk started. No,
yeah,
that was
no,
bullshit.
no.
When rock and roll started, that
Right,
was
right.
that was
Yeah,
absolutely unbelievable. Because I always, my argument is always, and people
yeah,
say like when we heard the Beatles, I think, no, you heard rock and roll because your older brothers and sisters must have played
yeah,
it. So
right.
you would have known that it wasn't what you were listening to wasn't original. Uh,
Yes, right.
Rock and roll. There was
Yeah,
nothing before rock and roll. There was, I mean, I loved Sinatra
yeah,
uh, and Dean Martin, but it wasn't a whole lot of shaking going on. It wasn't "Don't Be Cruel." It wasn't "Hound Dog." It wasn't "I'm Walking." Ain't that a shame? Different,
yes,
that was the first.
yes, yes.
Just why?
Wow.
Oh God, I love. I mean, that's why I was kind of happy to do this to
Yeah.
talk to you.
Well, yeah.
So
Well,
I love living in the past. I mean, those
yeah.
days were just music
I,
wise were just wonderful.
I do too. I do too. And that's why I go back and I would listen to a lot of the music from the 60s and 70s because for me, that's happier times, you know? I mean, really are, you know, it just takes you back. You know, I know, well, we were sheltered, you know, from our parents. My dad had to go out and slay the dragon every day, you know, at work.
Right.
But you know, he protected us from a lot of that. But of course, you grow up, you know, and it's happy times when you're young, you know. So you equate that
Yeah.
with the music from that, you know.
Yeah. And
That,
it seemed to be
so
such the school holidays seemed to be sunny every day. I'm sure they weren't,
right,
particularly in
didn't they?
England.
Didn't they? Didn't they? Exactly.
Yeah, but I don't remember rain in August. You know, I remember we used to go swimming.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. And people and kids would stay out. Parents would let them stay out at night. You know, the doors remained unlocked. Things like that. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know.
I was
It's
telling somebody the other day, Mark and I used to get, we both lived near a common, a Stoke Newington Common,
yeah.
and there was a bus, not a depot, but like the buses would start, two buses, the 73 and the 76 would start there. Some would finish there, some would end up in Tottenham on the way back.
Yeah.
And Mark and I used to get the 73 bus when we were 10, 11 years old up to Oxford Street. Mark's mother worked in on a fruit stall
Yeah.
in Berwick Street Market. We'd go and see her. She'd probably give us a shilling each, you know, five pence each. And we'd go to the Two Eyes Coffee Bar, which was like the rock and roll place. And Nora, who was the manageress there, used to buy her fruit from Mark's mum.
Yes. Yes.
So, and Mark's mum said, "Oh, my boy and his friend, they're like the Everly Brothers." She said,
Yeah.
"Well, tell them to come and sing at the Two Eyes." And Mark, I don't know what we did. We must have been awful, but we actually sang at the Two Eyes Coffee Bar. We took our
Yeah.
guitars and we sang there,
Did you?
and we called ourselves Rick and Ellis.
Oh, did you? Okay. Yeah. Well, see that's going to be fascinating to a lot of the viewers that watch this. You know, the Mark Bolan fans to hear those stories. You know,
I
when he
hope
was.
so. I hope so
Yeah.
because he was great. We were friends till the end. I mean, I didn't
Yeah.
see him for a number of years through his big success,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I saw him about a year before he died. We through a situation we ended up, I know, which we'll probably, it'll come to it when we get to that point in history. So we saw each other like three times the year before he died,
Oh, okay. Well,
and he
that's
hadn't
nice.
changed. We were
He hadn't
just
changed. Yeah.
we were
Yeah.
just two kids together.
It's
It was one
it,
because he was a big star, and I did mine. It was my attitude which was bad. I was thinking, should I behave differently?
yeah.
And he, we were talking. I could hear the way he was talking, and
Uh-huh.
we were reliving that
Right.
thing when we were kids, and he kind of remembered. Not that I thought he'd forget, but he was just
Yeah.
very vocal about stuff.
Right. Right.
And there was I'll tell it. But
Go
we
ahead.
got together. I was doing a TV show, and somebody from the record company, his company, said, "Oh, Mark's having a Guy Fawkes party on Sunday. We knew you were on the show. We'd love you. He'd love you to be there." So I phoned on the Sunday. The girl I was with. She said, "We're going to go to this party," and I went, "Well, he might have changed. I don't know what he's going to be like." And I phoned through to the restaurant and said, "Can I speak to somebody from the Mark Bolan party?" And Gloria, his wife or girlfriend,
Yeah.
came to the phone. And I swear to you, she went, "Is that Steve?" And I went, "Yeah." She
Yeah.
said, Are you coming?" He's pacing up and down like a panther. And it
He
was
was.
when we got there was like a mezzanine floor,
Yeah.
and we were up
Yeah.
above. And I looked down, and he was just talking to somebody, and he kept looking up. And then when he saw me, he just went, and he ran up the
Ah.
stairs, and we hugged and we kissed.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And there was a point. I mean, this sounds like a very bizarre thing, but it was true. Both of us during the afternoon needed to go to the toilet,
Yeah.
and we went together. And while he did his PP, I held his arm, and when I did mine, he held mine. We never let go of each other the whole afternoon, and we hadn't seen each
Right.
other for. I suppose we'd have been. I'd have been 29, nearly 30, and he died when he was 30, so he'd have been 28, 29.
Right.
And we hadn't seen each other since we were 16, 17, probably, because
Yeah.
Mark and his family moved away from Stoke Newington and moved to Wimbledon.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
so those number of years I never saw him.
Okay.
And he became, listen, T-Rex,
Yeah.
not only were
Yeah.
they massive, but they'd
Yeah.
come down. His success, he'd lost his success, but came back again, bigger than he
Yeah.
was at the first place.
Right. Right. He was. He
He was
was.
massive.
Yeah.
People say
But
big as the Beatles. He
but
probably was.
yeah. But he never forgot his roots. He never forgot.
Never.
It sounds like he stayed grounded. Yeah. Yeah. He stayed
Yeah, no,
grounded and down
absolutely.
to earth. Yeah. 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 That's special, and especially when you become an idol like that or pop star. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I want to hear about. We talked about that. How about the first live concert that you attended, that you went to?
First live concert. Well, Mark and I would have gone to a place called the Regal Edmonton, which was a cinema during the week, but they used to put rock and roll shows on a Sunday. So we'd have gone. I think the star of the show would have been. Did you ever hear of Wee Willie Harris?
Yes, I have. Yes, I have.
Right, he
Yes.
was. We went to see him. Now,
Uh-huh.
the other thing that we went to, which was very important for us, there was a great rock and roll show they showed that was on every Saturday, produced by Jack Good, called Oh Boy. Now that was, I think, there were 2 seasons of that. Mark and I would get up on a Saturday morning. We'd get the bus because it was only like I don't know, a 6 pence bus ride to the Hackney Empire. We got tickets every week. Cliff Richard would give us tickets.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Hank Marvin, Marty One, Billy
Hank
Fury.
Martin. Oh,
Somebody
Hank
would always
Martin.
give all
Yes.
these 2 young kids were there. Me and Mark
Yeah.
were there every Saturday, never missed a show.
Yeah.
We had tickets every week. We'd get in, we'd watch the show, then we'd rush home to watch it on television because they recorded it about like an hour before,
Right.
and we just
Right.
about made it home in time.
Yeah.
And
Just to watch
there
it
weren't
on.
many Americans on. There was Vince Taylor was on, who was big in France. I don't know if he was American or Canadian.
Yeah.
He was an Elvis kind of copier.
Yes, he
And I
was.
tell you who was on, who we really were impressed with, Doc Pomus and Mort Schumann. They didn't have
Oh,
many
yeah.
songwriters on there, but those
Right.
two were, they'd written a
Oh,
million hits.
well, the songs they've written. Yes. Wow. Okay. They had them on there as well. Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they did like
Yeah.
a medley of their songs. Mort Schumann sang, and I think Doc
Yeah.
Pomus played piano.
Wow. Yeah. That'd be like seeing
They were great shows.
right. That'd be like seeing Burt Bacharach and Hal David.
Oh,
Doing that.
well,
Yeah.
yeah. Listen, I decided a couple of years ago that I would see Burt Bacharach.
Yeah.
Who's just been my hero since I very first heard his songs.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and he walked out on stage, and the music started playing. Um, uh, what was it? I'd like to. No, I'd like to. What's it? Oh God, what was it? What the world needs now is love.
Always love. Yes. Yes.
And I
Yes.
swear to you, I just burst into tears.
Yeah. Yeah.
It
Some.
just got me, and I thought, my God, I've got to see back. And then he came back again a couple of years later, and I said to Wendy, I said, well, I've got to go and see him again because he's not going to be coming over too many more times.
Right. Right.
And then I think then the following year, Dionne Warwick came over, but not with him. She came over
Right.
with her, and I thought I must see her. And she was fabulous. I mean, like Sinatra, the high notes were gone, so she'd get the backing singers to do that. But that's an age thing.
Yeah, that
There's
that
not
happens.
many people can still hit those high notes
No, no, it doesn't.
when
It doesn't
they're 70.
when it doesn't last forever. No.
No,
Well,
no.
well, talk about what was the. Were you in a band early on? Before.
Yeah, I had
Go ahead. Go ahead.
little trios, little kind of
Okay.
bass, drums, guitar. We were doing like Buddy Holly songs, and I think I did a pretty good. Somebody reminded me I did a good version of Johnny Be Good, and
Okay. Okay.
I had that solo pretty much nailed. I
Yeah.
practiced, not as good, not as fast as Chuck Berry, but it was pretty good.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and I kind of messed around. And basically, when I left school, most Jewish parents want their kid to have a trade, and did my 3 years apprenticeship.
Okay.
So I
Okay.
kind of learned my trade properly.
Okay.
Um, and then yeah, I did go for one or yeah, I did go for one audition. I tried a couple of people as a solo. I was never a particularly great singer. Um, Particularly in those early, years later, I practiced and practiced, so I did sound better. But those early days, but I remember going to one audition, and I think the Beatles were just around, but they hadn't recorded Twist and Shout yet,
Okay.
and I had the original, which I still think is the best, the Isley Brothers.
Yes. Yes.
As
Yes.
good as people think the Beatles Twist and Shout is, it's
Yes.
nothing for me. It's nothing compared to the
Yeah.
Isleys. That
Yeah.
was, and I went to the audition and I sang it, and the group, the house band didn't know it.
They didn't.
I said just three chords.
Yeah.
And 6 months later, they'd have known it because the
Yeah.
Beatles brought it out. But I sang it, and I did all the voices and all the screaming. I didn't pass the audition,
Right.
but I remember doing it, and they said, "Twist and Shout, we don't know it," and I went,
Yeah.
"How come I do?" Well, I do because I was a big music fan.
Right. Right. You were on to them before anybody else. Yeah.
Well, the Beatles were obviously knew about it as well
Yes.
because
Yeah.
they were into that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Um, and then I was kind of dormant for a couple of years until I met Frank Aiello.
Okay. Okay.
And
How,
Frank and
how,
I
how
met
did you
Frank.
how did you meet? How did you guys meet?
Well, I used to where I came from in Stamford Hill. There were just lots of guys who were into the mod thing, and we used to go to different clubs, and there were just like loads. So I'd go to a club with you this week, and then next week I'd go knock around with somebody else. And then I was at a club one night, and Frank walked in with a guy called Mickey that I knew. And he said, "Oh, this is Frank. Hi, how are you?" And we became friends, and we realized we had a lot. We liked clothes. That was the thing. We were into clothes, and he was a ladies' hairdresser,
Okay.
and we both had Thursday afternoons off. So I worked in Stoke Newington. He worked. I think he was in Peckham. So we used to meet up in town on a Thursday about 2 o'clock and spend a couple of hours looking around the shops, doing whatever, buying, stealing, whatever we did at the time. And turned out that he was a singer. He loved to sing. He'd been in a couple of competitions, and he played piano, and that's what he really wanted to do. And we used to mess around together, nothing serious, but we'd just sit around with me. I always had a guitar, so we'd mess around. And then I was working. I must have been 18, and I was working in a barber shop in Tottenham, and a guy came in who was a taxi driver. And if you know anything about the truth, you'll know that our first manager was a guy called Jeff Cooper. And this was Jeff Cooper. And I saw him pull up in a taxi. And then we were talking. I said, "What do you don't bullshit me?"
Yeah.
He said, "Yeah, but I want to make records, blah, blah, blah." I said, "Well, that's interesting." I said, "Because me and my friend," I said, we're like the Righteous Brothers.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So he said, "I'd like to hear you." So
Uh-huh.
we went over, and he said, "I want to put your voices on the demo and pay for it." We stood it. We actually we went, "Yeah, okay, we'll pay for it." And we did a backing track to our very first single, a thing called "Baby Don't You Know."
Okay. Okay.
That was the first single that we released. How he did it, I don't know, but he got a deal with Pi Records,
Yeah. Yes.
and that was our first single. We recorded at Lansdowne Studios in Holland Park in West London. And that feeling, that being in a room
Right.
with like orchestras, not just rhythm sections,
Yes. Yes.
orchestras, violins, timpalis,
Yeah.
vibes, guitar, drums, piano, saxophones, trumpets. Wow.
Right. All of that.
It was absolutely spellbinding.
Yeah.
It was wonderful.
Yeah. That first.
And that was our first we needed a name. So Jeff said, and I think he came up with some names, but I was a massive Ray Charles fan, so I still am. And there
Yes.
was a song, a thing that he recorded called "Tell the Truth,"
Tell the truth.
and I said, "How about the truth?" And they went, "Yeah,
Yeah.
everyone liked that. Yeah, so we're the truth."
Okay, that's where that came from. Okay. Wow.
And that's how the truth started.
Okay. So you're reading my mind now, Steve. That's what I was going to ask that question. Yeah. So yeah, the and another single, nice cover of "Walk Away, Renee," uh, and then the B side was "Fly Away Bird," which I also like that one.
That was the first song I ever wrote.
Okay, was it? All right, all right. Yeah, you did a nice job. I
Well, the
like
first
that.
song I ever wrote and recorded.
Uh-huh.
Oh, did you?
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
I do like that.
Yeah, we did that. I'm trying to think. The Walkaway Renee, it'd been a hit in America.
Yeah.
Was it the Left
Left
Bank?
left bank, yes, yes.
And then we did it in England.
Yeah.
Um, and we even went on Top of the Pops, the big show, a tip
Yeah.
for the top. But the BBC loved it,
Yeah. Yes.
and it never happened.
Right.
6 months later, the Four Tops brought it out and had a massive hit with it.
Yes. Isn't that something? Yeah, I like that Baroque pop, Left Bank, and also Zombies are like one of my all-time favorite bands.
Yeah,
Yes, I like
and
that.
don't forget before Walk Away Renee, we had a hit with the Beatles cover. We covered Girl.
That's right. Yes, you did. Yes, yes.
So that
Exactly.
was I think we had Baby Don't You Know came out, Who's Wrong came out. I think we had 3 or 4 singles before Girl, and I never liked Girl. I
You
still
didn't
don't.
you didn't
I
like
remember the
you
day
don't like
before I said to Frank, I said, "You
yeah.
record do a solo thing." I said,
You did a
"It's just
solo.
it's just not
Yeah,
what I want to do." What
yeah.
Listen,
Yes.
I wanted to be Sam and Dave,
Yes.
and so did
Right,
Frank.
right.
We wanted to be Black Americans. We didn't want to
Yeah.
be white North London kids,
Yeah. Yeah,
and we
exactly.
never really made records.
Yeah.
To the closest we got was years later when we were with Dave Nicholson and we recorded a Young Rascal song called Swano
Okay.
and I
Okay.
Can't Make It Alone, which was a Goffin and King song, which I think
Okay.
Bill Medley had recorded. Either the
Uh,
Righteous Brothers or Bill Medley had recorded.
okay.
And that was the closest that we got to kind of modern stuff, other than, I don't know, what did we do? What was another song? The Trogs wrote a song called Jingle Jangle, which was very nice, very commercial. But we wanted to do "Hold On, I'm Coming."
Yeah.
It was mad. It was
Right.
that's
You want to,
the thing was our stage act
yes.
when we first did Top of the Pops with Girl, and it was obvious we were booked to go out on the road, and we met at Top of the Pops. We met the Small Faces, who were absolutely
Oh, wow.
brilliant. I don't know
Wow.
if you're a
Yeah.
fan.
Oh, yes, I
Steve
am.
Marriott and Ronnie.
Yes. Uh,
And we were having a cup of tea with them, and we said we're going out on the road. And I said we're looking for a little back. Never called them bands then; it was a group. We were looking for a
yeah.
backing
Yes.
group. They said, "What are you looking for?" I said, "We're looking for the Small Faces." And they
Uh-huh.
looked at us like, "Man," I went, "Our stage act is nothing. It's going to be nothing like Girl, the Beatles song."
Yes.
In fact, they got us on a tour with them, and we must have done, I think, eight or nine nights with them. And it was only about the sixth night they realised that we were opening with "Oop Oop a Doo," the Jesse Hill track, and they were opening with it too.
They were too.
It was just like, on the sixth night, it just like Steve Marriott said, he said,
Yeah.
"You're doing "Oop Oop a Doo"
Yeah.
at the." I went, "Yeah." He went, "So are we.
Yeah.
We've done it every night." I said, "So have we."
You know what you
Nobody had
should have done?
questioned it.
You open for them, right? You open for Small Faces. You know what you should have done is
Well,
like
we
you
actually
end your
opened. We
set with
opened the
the
second half.
okay. I was going to say what should have happened
Yeah,
was
we opened.
like one of you end with that song, and then the other band comes in and starts with that song. You'll just kind of work together. You do the first half of it, and then they finish it. That would have been
Yeah,
kind
yeah,
of
yeah.
kind of unique to do that. Right, right. Well, well, yeah. As far as other tracks, I of the truth from the truth. I particularly like the song Busker Bill, which you wrote.
Mm. Well, I'll tell you something. When that album came out, Who's
Yeah.
Wrong?
Yeah.
And I played it and I thought, God, I didn't even remember it.
You didn't. Okay. Yeah.
Then
Yeah.
once I heard it, I thought, yeah, and I was looking, what's Busker Bill? It
Yeah.
meant nothing to me. It never came out. It never came
Yeah.
out. It was never
Right.
released as an A side or a B side.
Really, really. Well, maybe that's how I got it
Yeah.
on. I have another YouTube channel besides my interviews. I have one where I just post songs, and I posted that on there. I'll send you the link and see if there's any comments. I don't remember, but it's a lot of the songs that kind of
Oh wow.
flew under the radar as far as copyright and that kind of thing. So it's good that it was probably not a hit, but a lot of the B
Yeah.
sides and
Actually, I think if you look at the liner notes on the Who's Wrong album, the compilation,
yeah.
I think Dave Nicholson said that when he mixed it, he never felt he got it right.
Oh, is that right?
And I mean, I don't even remember recording it, to be honest. I mean, I
You don't.
remember that. I do remember the song now. I
Yeah, yeah,
genuinely don't remember. No, I
yeah.
remember Fly Away Bird. I remember because that was, I think, pretty much the first song that I wrote that we recorded. Um, a thing called Omar Brown, which was like a country
Oh,
thing.
yeah,
That
yeah.
was a B side of something, and we played it. That must have been the first track that I played guitar on the session because I played kind of the main rhythm part and the guitar, I did it with one of the session guys. You may have that Big Jim Sullivan. Years later,
Oh,
worked with Tom
oh,
Jones. He was his
oh,
musical
right,
director, and
right.
Jim was great. So he played two different figures on electric guitar,
Uh-huh.
and said to me, right, he said, "There's another rhythm part that you can play," and taught me that.
Yes.
So you got me playing two guitars, two acoustic guitars, him playing two electric, and that was all. There was no drums, bass, pianos. There were just our voices and
Oh,
four guitars basically.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Jim Sullivan, another Jimmy Page played a lot of sessions too. Yeah, yeah.
Well, Frank and I worked with Jimmy Page
Oh,
um, on and you know the album on with Swayno
yes.
and I Can't Make It Alone. And Jimmy at the time was still with the Yardbirds,
Right, right.
and we recorded it Lansdowne Studios in Holland Park. Great session. I know you're a muso, so you'd know. There was Jimmy Page arranging and playing guitar, Nicky Hopkins on keyboard,
What a piano
who played
player.
with the Stones.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
Um,
Oh, yeah.
an older guy called Alan Whale playing bass. And the drummer was a guy called Bobby Graham, who was a top session player, but he played on all the Dave Clark records.
Yes, yes. I
So it
knew
was
that
never
name.
Dave Clark playing drums. It was all Bobby Graham. And he was a
Oh,
great rock drummer.
oh, yeah.
And we went out for lunch. We were recording for 2 days. And we went for lunch with Jimmy and the keyboard player, Nicky Hopkins.
Nicky. Yeah.
And Jimmy was talking about he'd been offered $100,000 by Atlantic Records to put an album together, put a band together. We
Yeah.
said, "Oh, what are you going to do?" And he went, "I don't know." He said, "Be honest with you, I'm working with the Yardbirds. I'm with Jeff Beck." He went, "It don't get any better than that. You know, the only thing is," he said, "I bought a houseboat, and I could do with basically stealing some money from the record deal to do my place up."
Yeah.
And that was it. And the
Yes.
band became Led Zeppelin.
Yes.
So Frank and I were there at the kind
Right.
of the, the inception of Zeppelin.
Right. Right. And another singer
You
that
know, I
passed
mean, we
away.
didn't know it at the time, obviously.
No, another singer that passed away recently, Terry Reid, almost became the lead singer in Zeppelin.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. And I'll
Before.
tell you who else nearly became the lead singer. Frank Aiello.
Oh, did he? Oh, did he? How close was he? What happened?
When we were recording,
Yeah.
Jimmy really liked. I never knew this for ages, but I found out later that Jimmy Page had approached our manager, Dave Nicholson. They said, "We're auditioning for a singer for Led Zeppelin," or they had no name at the time, but for the band, will Frank come along? And
Yeah.
Frank believed that we were going to make it, so decided and said no.
Oh, wow. And looking back on it, if you
But,
could have known what would have
so things
happened,
could have been things could
right,
have been
but
a lot
things could have
different.
been. But at the time, what do they say? A bird in the hand, right, is worth two
Worth
two in the
two in the
bush. So
bush.
that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. So, oh yeah, so many careers could have gone on a different trajectory, with those kind of
Yeah,
decisions. Mhm.
things
Yeah,
happen. I mean, to take the story forward, which I know
yeah,
we're about
sure,
to,
sure,
um,
sure.
Frank with and listen, it's not I'm not being gossipy, it's true. Frank ended up going off with my first wife. So that's so our career, our double act ended. Well, most the Everly brothers, the same thing happened. I think Sam and Dave hated each other. All double
Yeah.
acts hated each other. I never hated Frank. I loved him then. I love him now. It was
Yeah.
something that happened.
Yes.
And all these years later, they're still together. So I hear.
Yeah.
So something
Yeah.
good came out of it. But
Something
in
good. Right.
between that time, I'd taken a job in sales in the fashion business, and I bumped into a guy who I'd known for years from the clubs, Marshall Doctors, and he said to me, he said, "I understand you're not with Frank anymore." I said, "No." He said, "You still write songs?" I said, "Yeah, I'm starting to," because like James Taylor was around and
Yeah.
that singer songwriter thing was happening, and
Yeah. Yeah.
he said to me, "Oh, I used to write poetry," and I went, "Oh
Yeah.
yeah." He
Yeah.
said,
And
"Maybe we could get together," and I went, "Yeah,
yeah.
okay." And I was about to go away for a few days, so I said, "Yeah, I'm going to give you a cassette with a couple of. Well, I'm just humming melodies, see what you can come up with." So I go away for a few days. I come back, and he's lost the tape. And I thought, well, that's fate, isn't it? Obviously
Uh,
wasn't meant to be. But for some stupid reason, I said to him, I'll do another tape. And then we started writing songs together. And
oh,
this is where I'm a great believer in fate. I was never one to go into pubs to drink. I used to like to. I always drank, but I like to drink at home. Pubs. I never felt safe in pubs.
yeah.
And one particular night, a friend of mine, I can't even remember who it was now, but somebody who was living out of London or abroad said, "Let's meet up and have a drink near Oxford Circus." And I went. We were having a drink, and George Martin walked in.
Oh, wow. Wow. Okay.
And I thought, you know what, this is too good to miss. And I said
Yeah.
to my pal, "Excuse me a second." And I
Yeah.
went over and I said to George Martin, I said, "George Martin, Mr. Martin." He went, "Yeah." He said, "Unfortunately."
Uh,
And I said, "Listen, I'm a songwriter." He said, "I know." He said, "You're better than the Beatles and you want to give
oh,
me a tape." I said, "Very much." So he took
wow.
out a pen and paper. He said, "I phone this number tomorrow. It's my secretary, Shirley, and you can deal with it." He said, "We've got an office near Marble Arch," which was the
Yeah.
other end of Oxford Street. And I
Yeah.
phoned the next day, and Shirley said, "I think I'd already been to a studio in Wimbledon, which I knew, and put down some 7 or 8 tracks or something, just voice and guitar."
Yeah.
And I took it to her, and she said, "I'll play it around." Now, George Martin was part of a group called Air London. They had the Air
Yes.
Studios,
Yes.
but there were 4 directors. There was Peter Sullivan, who produced Tom Jones and Engelbert Humperdinck.
Uh,
There was John Burgess, who handled Peter and Gordon, Freddie and the Dreamers, Cliff Bennett and the Rebel Rousers, George Martin, obviously the Beatles and Cilla Black, and Ron Richards, who had the Hollies, amongst others.
uh, what
They
what
all
band?
turned it down.
Yeah, they all did.
Every one of them turned it down.
Yeah.
And then I kept phoning Shirley, and she said, "Well, hang on, I've given it to George." George said no. He said, "Give it to Ron." Ron said no. "Give it to Peter." He said no. And then I get a phone call from Roger Greenaway
Um,
of the
oh,
famous
yeah.
Greenaway and Cook songwriters.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
And he said to me, he said, "The tape's just landed on my desk." He said, "I played it." He said, "Do you want to come in and have a chat?" So I said, "Yeah, fine." And I thought, "Oh my God." And I phoned Marshall and said, "Listen, we're going." He said, "Shall I come?" And I went, "Yeah, you're part of the deal." And yeah, it was great. Now, bearing in mind, I'd been in and out of the music business for a few years, so I had a certain amount of experience, as a performer, as a whatever. And Marshall hadn't. We sit down with
Okay.
Roger Greenaway, and Roger said to me, "Okay," he said, he said, "You wrote the songs together?" I said, "Yeah." He says, "Who's playing guitar on the thing?" I said, "I am." He said, "Oh," he said, "I like your playing." He said, "That's you singing?" I went, "Yeah." He said, "Okay." He said, "What I think I'd like to do," he said, "it's going to take about a year because of other commitments." He said, "I'd really like to do an album with you." Well, bearing in mind, when I sang with Frank, Frank was the voice. So now
Yeah.
I'm being
Okay.
offered
Yes.
the lead singer of something, and I was over the moon. And there was this lovely moment where Marshall, and I will repeat again, he'd had no experience. He said, "Wouldn't it be better to do a single first?" And I went, "Why don't you mind your own fucking business? Roger Greenaway knows the business better than you."
Yeah.
No, it's
Right.
lovely because
Yeah.
60 years later, Roger and I are still friends. In fact, I spoke to him today. We're
Oh,
having lunch together, and he loves that story. So I remember that. He
yeah.
said, he said,
Oh.
"I'm thinking, who the hell is this guy? Can we do a single first? What do you know?"
Yeah.
And that was how we came to do the Stephen Jameson album.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, Roger, yeah, he's still around. Now that would be somebody I'd like to talk to. Yeah.
Well,
You know,
I'll have a word with him, see if he fancies doing something.
okay,
Well,
because
the other one, Roger
Roger,
Cook lives in Nashville.
that's right. I think I did reach out to him, not Greenaway, but Roger. Yeah, Roger Cook. Yeah, they and they recorded as what was who did what
They
Greenaway
were
and Cook?
David and Jonathan.
David and Jonathan. That's who I was
Yeah,
looking for.
when we had a hit with "Girl" off the Beatles' Rubber Soul album, they had a big hit with Michelle.
Yes, that's right. They did. Yes, they did. David and Jonathan. I was trying to think of the names. Yes,
Yeah,
yeah,
and
yeah,
before that, they were with the Kestrels, and then
yes.
they became massive songwriters. I mean, just
Oh,
incredible
that
and
was,
lovely people. I was always closer to Greenaway because we work. He was the one that I worked with, sort of thing.
yeah,
But
I'll
I
make a
even wrote a
note.
couple of songs with Roger Cook.
Did you? Did you? Okay. Well, what
Yeah,
happened to those?
are,
What,
are
what?
you are you a Blue Mink fan by any chance?
Oh, yes. Yes, I am. Yes, I am.
Right. Well, if you can fish out a song called "Another Without You Day,"
I know the song. Yes, I do. And you co-wrote that one.
I wrote that with Roger Cook. It's credited to Greenaway, Cook, Jameson, Doctors, but I actually wrote it with Roger Cook.
I do know that song. I do know that song. Wow. Yes, yes. And who was the female singer in Blue Mink? Who was
Madeline Bell.
Madeline Bell? Yes. Right, right.
Yeah,
The American that immigrated over there. Right, Blue Mink.
but she's still around. I mean, she lives in Spain now,
Yeah,
but I think she came over. They had a Blue Mink reunion
yeah.
last year, just before Herbie Flowers died,
Oh, right.
and they were kind of really old people. Alan Parker is kind of walking on sticks. He was the guitarist in the band. I think Roger Cook flew over from Nashville to do the show. Sadly, Barry Morgan, the drummer, had passed away some years before. Yeah, listen, we're all kind of 70 and 80 years old.
I know.
It's mad.
Yeah,
We don't,
this is
we
what I
think we're
say.
12.
I wished I would have started doing this about a decade earlier, or maybe longer than that, maybe 15, 20 years earlier. I could have talked to a lot of these that have passed on, a lot of these guys, musicians.
Yeah. I mean,
But
I know all the time where people are dying, I'm thinking, God, of course they are. They're my
yeah,
age and older.
yeah, yeah, right, right. Chris Rea, what a singer-songwriter, just went, what was
Yeah.
it, week
Yeah.
or so ago. Yeah, yeah, it's wild, wild. Well, yeah, your album, I want to say I enjoyed it. I think it's a really accomplished album. On the
Oh, thank you.
released on the Dawn label, which is a subsidiary of
Yeah.
Time.
That was
Yeah,
that was the kind of trendy label or the alternative label for Pi Records.
yeah, yeah. Well, I was going to mention my picks off of there and see if I can get your recollections of maybe the inspiration behind the songs or any kind of story that you might have surrounding the songs. Uh, I like Mary Sue.
Yeah. Do you know what? Marshall and I would sit down together every Monday night. We did, I know, for a year, maybe two, including when we were already recording. And I don't think there's any particular story to. The only one that there's a story to was the last track on the album, Margie Make It March.
Margie Make It March, yeah. Which
And Marshall was going out with a girl, and they tried to fix me up with her boss's secretary, and her name was Margie.
Okay.
And we went on a blind date, and she kept saying this thing, we couldn't make it March. We couldn't make it March. And I thought, what a bullshit, and I've never been one for that kind of thing, I'm very straightforward and boring, and I think that's kind of that pretentious shit. And we sat there, and I just was like, da, 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 yeah, Margie, make it March. Margie. Oh, hang on, I said, doesn't March. She said, what does it mean? I went, don't mean anything. I said, I don't know what it means, but it just sounds like it sounds right.
Yeah.
And that's the only story I can think of. Mary Sue. Okay. Mary Sue. I tell you, I did Mary Sue on the Cilla Black show.
Oh.
I did a little bit over the years. Did a little bit of TV, and Roger Guino and Roger Cook had written the theme song to one of the series of Cilla Black TV shows, and Cilla's husband, her late husband Bobby, had come to see Greenaway and Cook in the office, and Roger was just playing a couple of tracks from the album. I think the album was half finished, and Bobby said, "Who's this?" And Roger Greenaway said, "Oh, it's Stephen Jameson." He said, "He's one of our artists," and he went, "Has he been on television?" And Roger said, "Well," he said, "because we got a spot for a new artist every week." And he went, "Well, the truth is, he said he was with The Truth, so they had done television, but he's never done it as a solo." And Bobby went, "Yeah, good enough for me."
Yeah. And
they put me on the show, and I was on, and Greenaway and Cook were on the same show doing a medley of their hits with Cilla.
With Cilla. Speaking of, I just happen to have this nearby. I didn't know we were going to talk about her, but I have. It's got 5 of her albums on this. It's like a little box set.
Oh wow!
Original album series, and it's got Cilla Sings a Rainbow, Sure Go, Surround Yourself with Cilla, and Sweet Inspiration. So 5 albums on this, and it's discount price. So it was a good pickup to do that. So wow.
Do you know what? Her version of Alfie,
yes,
is my favorite.
Yes.
I think she just did an incredible job on that.
Yes, and that's.
Bearing in mind that Dionne Warwick is my favorite, and Jackie Shannon, What the World Needs Now Is Love, I think was absolutely brilliant. But Cilla's version of Alfie, really special. I love that.
Yeah.
Well, she was really nice to me.
Yeah.
Did the show. Sadly, nothing came out of it.
Right. Well, I like you mentioned Margie Make It March. I'll skip down to that. I like the strings and the orchestration on that one too. And it was a single.
I cried. You know what?
Yeah. It was a single.
When they started.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think it was the first single off the album.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And never got played. The only person on a Sunday morning on I think it was Radio 1, a DJ called Noel Edmonds, was played a song off that album for 6 or 7 weeks. He said, "I'm going to keep playing a track off this album till it becomes a hit." And he was the only person. Nobody else on BBC Radio played anything from that album.
Oh wow!
But he did, and it was really wonderful. On a Sunday morning, I remember getting up the first Sunday, and I think maybe Roger Greeno had said to me, the producer had said they're going to play it. Yeah. And he announced that he said we're going to play a track from a new album from a new writer called Stephen Jameson. I thought, oh my God!
To hear
and
that,
and to be honest with you, all I kept thinking was, I think Frank. No, at that time Frank hadn't had any success, but he did have a hit with the Cozy Powell band.
Oh, Cozy Powell, yeah.
A couple, just almost the time where Nosmo King was around. Okay. So he did have a limited amount of success, but with that voice, he should have had a lot more. But it wasn't meant to be, and that's all you can say, I suppose.
Yeah. Well, how did you get for the album cover? How did you get the piano out there by the tree?
Right. The story, the original story was that a friend of mine who was an artist, I may add, a very temperamental artist, used to take photographs and then paint from the photograph. And I said to him, I really want to do something different. I want you to paint the album. And everyone was happy. Pie Records were happy. Roger Greenaway was happy. Roger Cook was happy. And I went, and my friend lived out in the country. And I went there, I think on a Saturday or a Sunday, to pick it up. And I got there, and his wife said to me, and I could say, I went, what's wrong? She went, you put a chair through it. I went, what do you mean? She went, he looked at it and thought, no, I don't like it.
Oh, wow.
Currently, okay. I had to go back on the Monday and say to everyone, look, I'm sorry, we're going to have to back to the drawing board. So because everybody was having photos taken with playing guitar, somebody at Pie Records said, why don't we do it with the piano instead? Yeah. So they hired a piano, and they get a delivery company to go down to Hampstead Heath. And me sitting the piano. At which point I hadn't owned a piano, and I wasn't writing on piano. It was that gave me that inspired me. I messed around. I thought, oh, you know what? I think I'm going to get a piano, which I did. For home, and then started writing songs. Taught myself for a little bit of piano. But yeah, that's how we got there. I just remember people looking at what the hell's going on, wheeling a piano down in a park sort of thing.
Right.
Yeah, we did that something a little bit different. Everyone else was guitars and sitting in the woods and stuff like that, on trees and by the sea and all that business. So that was something a bit different. But sadly, we obviously, nothing happened with that album.
Yeah. I like the look. I like the look of that, the piano by the tree. But I want to mention other tracks, Back Together Once Again. Now that one reminds me a little bit of Gilbert O'Sullivan.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah. I know there were track. The thing was, when half the album was done, Elton John wasn't Elton John. Gilbert O'Sullivan wasn't Gilbert O'Sullivan. Right. By the time it came out, it was almost, I'm not saying I was the originator, but it was almost as though we were copying.
Yeah, yes, right.
But I'm guessing we were all influenced by the same stuff.
Yeah.
At that time. So we did what
it's going to come out. Your influences will come out in the music. Yeah. Tucson is another one I like, Tucson.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah.
That was probably one of my favorites.
Oh, good. Okay.
I don't know if we got the geography. Right on that.
That's all right. Now there's three here that are like my top picks, my three favorites, and they're pretty much like back to back in a way. I think going back and looking at the album, but Thought of You Instead, Don't Say. Really like the piano in that one. And then Just One More Day. And then Just One More Day. All three of those are like my top picks. Yeah.
Are they? Oh, thank you. I'm really flattered. Listen, I'm flattered because it's an old album. Nobody's talking about it. Nobody's playing it. And an idiot like you likes it.
An idiot. There you go. Thank you. I'll pat myself on the back. Okay. I like that singer-songwriter era. I do like that, and
there was some wonderful stuff around. God.
Yeah. Yes, there was. Yes. And Song for Free, I'll throw that one in too. I like that one. Song for Free. Another track off of there.
Yeah. So I remember just sitting in one of our bedrooms writing. We used to do his Marshall's flat one week and my house the following week.
Yeah.
We were taking turns so we wouldn't get our parents too angry.
Right. Well, how did the album fare upon release? Did it just drop like a stone, or?
Yeah. As I say, the only person was Noel Edmonds. Yeah. So him and his producer obviously liked it. Nobody else did. The single Margie Make It March got released. Nothing happened. I think Don't Say was released as a single too. Didn't happen. The only thing where we might have had a bit of success was that Sasha Distel was signed to Pie Records.
Okay.
And somebody at Pie wanted to do either Just One More Day or Back Together Again. And Roger Greenaway thought we should bring the album out as virgin songs, no previous hits.
Right.
And that's probably a mistake. And we've talked about it since, and I said to him, for me, I really wish Sasha Distel had a, he was getting hits at the time,
Yes.
so it would have advanced me as a songwriter or us as songwriters. So, and some much needed money, but didn't
Yes.
happen. So I'm still friends with Roger all these years later.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Okay. Well, we'll go back and listen to the album again, and see what you think of it now
Yeah,
today.
funny enough, I played it about 3 months ago. It's
Oh,
on
did you?
YouTube.
Oh, yes. Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
And
That's a,
funnily enough, I mentioned it to Marshall. Marshall Doctors now lives in the south of France. And I said to him, "You want to go on YouTube? The album's on there."
yeah.
He said,
Yeah.
"Did you play it?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "What did you think?" And I said, "You know what? My least favorite track years ago was I thought of you instead." I said, and
Uh-huh.
I played it, and I thought, God, you know what? It stands up pretty well after all these
Uh,
years.
it does. It does. I like it.
It
That's
surprised me because I'd never particularly liked it. I think Roger
yeah.
Guino, we gave Roger like 30, 40 songs, and Roger picked all the tracks.
Yeah.
And that's what we recorded. We recorded a couple of odd B-sides, tracks that went out as B-sides, which weren't on the album.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there was a couple of nice things on there, but yeah, nothing happened with the album. Listen, I remember we came out of the studio, and I'm thinking, yeah,
Yeah.
we got a good chance with this, and we had no chance.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's just
Wow.
the way the cookie crumbles.
Yeah. Wow. Have any labels approached you about re-releasing or remastering that album?
No, the only time that ever anything came up was The Truth, where the guy had
Yeah.
wanted to do the compilation, and
Right.
even on that, you've got a couple of tracks on the end of it,
Yeah.
which weren't me or Frank. There was a Manchester group called The Truth, I think.
Oh.
There was
And
there was one track with Bedlam, which Frank was the lead singer on later on, but I
right.
think Cozy Powell might have been the drummer of that band.
I
But
think
there's
so.
another track which
Yeah.
had nothing to do with either of us.
Yeah. Yeah. Bedlam, heavy metal. They were like pretty heavy metal. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
I mean, you
Yeah.
could you could see why Jimmy Page
Yeah.
might have auditioned Frank, but how he would have known that from the sessions that we did,
Yes.
I've no idea.
Right.
Because Frank, our live stuff, you could hear it, but he never
Yeah.
saw us live. He just heard us recording. What did we do? We must have done Swaino, the Young Rascals song, the Goffin and King song, and a song that I'd written called My Magazine. And I've never had a copy of that. I don't even know what happened to that.
Okay. All right. Well, Nosmo King. Now you got the name from a non-smoking sign, right?
No, I didn't.
No. No.
I tell you how we got it. We
Okay.
right. We decided after the album flopped and all the singles from it flopped to try and to do something different. Uh, and I thought it would be really nice to do like an all-round entertainer thing where I could sing, learn to tap dance. Basically, it's what Barry Manilow did a
Right.
while later.
Yeah.
Um, and we had Roger Greenaway introduced me to some people who wanted to manage me, and they said, Stephen Jameson's a really nice name, but we need something a bit more gimmicky. And I suppose subconsciously I must have heard of Nosmo King as No Smoking. And I
Okay.
remember I came up with Nosmo King, Al Fresco,
I like that, Alfred. That's a good one.
which nearly happened. Al Fresco, which is Italian for outside,
Yeah.
isn't it?
All right.
And I think there was a third one. I think maybe something like Slim Jim and the Bow Ties.
Okay. That'd be
And then I
another
came
one.
up with that one, and the management
Yeah.
company liked the idea of the Nosmo King thing.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
we went into Air Studios and we recorded Teenage Love and a song called Goodbye.
Okay.
And the
Okay.
Teenage Love was like a 50s kind of spoof, a doo-wop sort of thing, with a slight difference. And that was fine. And it flopped. Nothing happened with it. We recorded that in the March. That must have come out in April or May. Then I get a phone call from Pi Records in about, I'm not even sure if Roger Greenaway was aware of it at that moment. I get a call from two guys, Dave McAleer and Barry Manstoff, who worked at Pie Records. They were starting a label called Disco Demand.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And they said, have you heard of the Javells? And I said, no. And they said, you've not heard of them? I said, no, never heard of them. They said, well, you're one of them. So I said, what are you talking about, one of them? They said, come in and have lunch. We've got a little story to tell you. Basically, what happened, they started this label, Disco Demand, and they'd gone through, and they were big into Northern Soul. They loved all that kind of stuff.
Yes.
And they played every record they could get their hands of in the Pie building, A-sides, B-sides. And they discovered a song called Goodbye on the other side of Teenage Love.
Okay.
What they did, this is 100% true. I'm not happy with it, but it's what happened. They printed up 6 white label copies.
Okay.
And they sent the one out to the Wigan Casino, which is one of the big ones, Blackpool Mecca, Twisted Wheel in Manchester. I think there were another 2 or 3. There was about 5 people that they sent white label copies saying, this is by the Javells. It's an American track. We're hoping to be able to release, to get the rights to release. Everybody came back and went, wow, this is unbelievable. You've got to do it. And suddenly there was like white label copies. I spoke to a kid in Wigan who paid 50 or 60 quid for a white label copy. It was he could have spent, I don't know, 10 bob or something on the single. And then they came up, they said, right, what we want to do is we want to put another singer in. They said, we're selling this as a Black American group, so we need a Black American guy to front the thing. And I went, listen, I've waited a long time for this. At the time, I don't know I'm going to have a hit record with it. I just know there's a sniff of something.
Yeah.
Some people are thinking that this might be it. Cut the story short, I insisted, and then Roger said, no, it's Steve's got to be doing it. So it became the Javells featuring Nosmo King.
Okay.
The record came out on Friday. We charted. We were on top of the pops the following week. I remember saying to my boss, I was working for a coat company selling coats.
Yeah.
And I said, listen, I need to take the day off Wednesday. And he went, because we got the call Tuesday. He said, why? So I'm on top of the pops. He says, what, are you dancing? I went, no, I'm singing. Like I said, well, you in the audience? I went, no, fucking singing on it. Because they didn't. I didn't tell them that I was doing anything.
Yeah.
I was working for them. And they did Top of the Pops. We went up to 26 from 54. It went up about 20. We went on again in 2 weeks' time. And then the weirdest thing happened. All those stories about you got to buy the records in the right shops.
Yes.
And at the same time, the Drifters had a record out, which was charting, which Roger Greenaway had produced.
Oh, okay.
We were getting the daily figures. And he said to me, listen, don't get too excited. He said, we were 26 and then we were 27.
Yeah.
And he said, the Drifters have sold less records than you this week. They've gone up to 18. He said, fingers crossed, you're 15 or 16. I think we went down, either went up one place or went down one place.
Wow. Okay.
And as soon as that happened, the record stopped being played on the radio.
Yeah. Oh, unfortunate for that. Yes.
Wow. Weirdest.
Yeah. Well, I got to say this because I had to look at the dates on this. Goodbye, Nothing to Say. The piano and backing vocals sound a whole lot like Maxine Nightingale's Right Back to Where We Started From. And
except ours came out 2 years before.
Now I was going to say, that's just what I was going to say. I looked at the dates on those. Hers came out later. So there might be
times I've been accused.
Yeah,
of
because
stealing their song.
No, hers came out later. So if anybody was ripping, hers did from yours because
listen, we took them to court. We were going to take them to court, but they settled.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
The only thing was, they had a number one in America, which we couldn't have known about.
Right.
We settled for a pittance, but
well, it's remarkable how much they sound alike. Yeah, really. I mean, it's almost the same song. Well, okay. Well, then you're familiar. You know all about that. Another one. Do you speaking of going up against David versus Goliath kind of a scenario, right? Is Roger Dean, right? That did all the Yes covers, the album covers.
Right.
The artist. Well, Avatar. Remember the movie Avatar? With okay, if you look at the backgrounds of all, the scene in the movie. I mean, those look like his album covers. I mean,
Oh,
it's
really? Yeah, I'm not
yes. I mean,
aware of that.
go
Yeah.
back and look at those. I mean, they got some of the ideas like the floating mountains and things like that in the air. He used those, a long time before that. So
Yeah.
he sued Avatar over that.
Did he win?
No, but that was the story of David versus Goliath going up against that
Yeah,
big,
yeah.
mega,
Yeah.
film crew and the whole production and all that. He lost. He lost, but it was definitely she should have won. He definitely should have. Anyway, that was something
Yeah.
I just thought of when you
Yeah.
go.
I mean, I think if we'd have gone to court, I'm guessing I'd like to think we'd have won and got a
Yeah,
bigger cut. But the
yeah,
interesting thing was, months before their record came out,
yeah,
I was in the building that Roger Greenaway was in, which originally was Air
yeah,
London, and their producers,
yeah,
Chrysalis, had bought them out.
yeah.
So
Right.
Chrysalis were based in there as well.
Yeah.
And there was a period, and I was friends with Chick Churchill, who used to be the keyboard player with 10 Years After.
Oh,
And
right.
I'd gone to have a coffee with him one day because I was always in the building. And a young guy walked in who I'd seen around. And he said, "Can I have a word with you?" And I went, "Yeah, of course you can." So he said, I said, "Let's get a coffee." I said, "What is it?" He said, "Look," he said, I'm a writer. I write songs and I'm with ATV Music. He said, "I'm here just for something else." He said, "But every Monday, a bunch of writers get together and play the songs they've written that last week."
Yeah.
He said, "And we play a game called Spot the Nick."
Yes. Yes.
Now, in England, if you nick something, it means you stole something.
Yes.
He
Yes.
says, and J. Vincent Edward and Pierre Tubbs sat down and played a thing called Get Right Back Where We Started From. He said, and everybody said, "That's Goodbye, Nothing to Say. It's Nosmo King and the Javells." And he said,
Right.
everybody knew it was. So he
Yes.
said, keep your ear out for it. And then the time went by, and then the record, Maxine Nightingale recorded it. And they had a hit. They had a bigger hit in the UK with it than we did. They got
Yeah.
to, I think, 11, 12, or 13, and we only got top 30.
Yeah.
And then they had a number one in the States. Plus, they were in the movie Slapshot with Paul Newman.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was featured in that. I remember sitting in the cinema not knowing that, and I'm going, how the
Yeah.
hell?
There's your song. There's your
Yeah,
song in there. Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah. Just you. I mean, never mind. That's
yeah.
remarkable. I
No,
mean,
that's
it's the
that.
things
Yeah,
that
that's life. I
yeah
know the
that
true story. The lovely thing is, like with you, where you hear
yeah
something and you think, "Hang on a second, that's for."
yeah
Oh, hang
yeah
on, yeah, hers came out 2 years later.
yes, hers did. Yes, it did.
Yeah,
Yes,
we
it
were
did.
74 and they were 76.
Yeah. 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 Wow. Well, another single, "Loving You Is Easy," another track with that Northern Soul energy and
I
vibe.
thought that was a smash. We
Yeah,
came out the studio and I thought, yeah, that'll be a
yeah,
bigger hit. In
right, right.
fact, there used to be a radio show on a Friday evening called Roscoe's Round Table.
Uh,
Emperor Roscoe, Mike Pasternak, used an
okay.
American DJ, used
Yes.
to, so he'd have like you, me, and like two, three guests playing the new releases. And Elton John was on. They played "Loving You Is Easy," and Elton said, "I've actually got Goodbye Nothing to Say on my jukebox at home."
Oh,
So
is
when
that
I
right?
heard that, I thought, "Wow!" And he
Yeah,
said,
yeah,
that was top five. This will be top five." And Roscoe said, "Actually, he said it only made top 30." He said, "But it was played so much,
yeah.
it seemed like it was a massive hit record,
Right, right.
but it was
Yeah.
only top 30." And then
Oh,
"Loving You Is Easy" charted
yeah.
the first week. It came in at 50 something, and then dropped.
Right, right.
That was
Yeah.
it.
A lot of those DJs from over there would come to America and just crate dig, and be looking for these obscured black songs, R&B and that kind of stuff, and then take them back over there, buy a bunch of them, and take them back over there and spin them at the
Yeah,
discos. Yeah, yeah, they would
yeah,
do that.
absolutely they did.
Wow, wow. Well, this one I think is my favorites. My favorite single was "Ain't No Substitute for Love." I think that's my favorite one. Uh,
Really? Oh God, I
yeah.
hated it.
Oh, you
It
didn't like that one, huh?
No, I mean Roger Greenaway sat me down and he said,
Yeah,
"Listen, we're not getting
yeah,
any hits with your songs. I
yeah.
want you to record one of mine." And I went, "Oh God,
Oh,
oh, that's really
it's
interesting."
yeah, yeah. That I think of those three, that's my favorite. That's my
It was
favorite
just the
one.
jealous. Listen, it was just the jealousy thing.
Oh,
I wanted to do my thing.
okay. All right.
But I said to Roger, out of respect to you, you've
Yeah,
supported me. We'll
yeah.
do it, and we did it. And sadly, nothing happened with that.
That one. Oh, really? Yeah,
And I
because
think,
yeah.
the next thing, I think I did all the good guys.
Okay,
I did, yeah, I think it was all the good guys was the next one, and that
okay,
was the first time where I was completely free to do what I wanted to do. I said to Roger, I really want to do that track. There were two tracks that I really wanted to do. So recorded all the good guys, and you probably don't know this one. I think right. Roger Greenaway started a record label with Tony McCauley called Target Records,
okay, okay.
and the first big hit they had was with Marmalade, and I can't
Oh,
remember the name of the song, but
okay,
it was a smash hit. But I went in and I recorded two tracks, all the good guys, and a thing called Red Hot Passion.
okay, okay.
And we came out, and I went to Roger Greenaway's office, and I sat with him and Harry Barter, and it was the first time they were hearing either track because they gave me carte blanche. They said, "Okay, you've been with us long enough. We trust you. Go in and do whatever you want to do." Before you say, "I want to do this," and they said, "No, you can't. You can do this or you can't do that." And I came out, and they went, "Right, you got two singles there." So all the good guys came out on Pie, and Red Hot Passion came out under the name of Dr. Dark.
Okay, okay. All
And that
right.
came out on Target Records, and neither were hits.
Oh, is that right? Neither one?
I
Really?
thought I thought Red Hot Passion might have been a dance hall hit,
Yeah.
but it wasn't. It was
Wow.
a very funky track.
Yeah, you mentioned Tony McAuley. Uh, I also liked Tony Hatch. Tony Hatch
Yeah,
with Downtown and uh,
Downtown.
and with Jackie Trent
Yeah,
songs
one of
with
the
Jackie.
best songs for me was Joanna,
Oh, right, right.
which
I know.
Scott Walker did.
Yeah, I know which one you're talking about.
That was Tony Hatch
Joanna.
and Jackie.
Yes, that's right.
Beautiful song.
Joanna. Yeah. Wow. Well, you did release a couple of more singles under Stephen Jameson in
Yeah,
'77 on Decca. Decca did
yeah. I was going
anything
to say,
else?
yeah. I moved to well, it was
To Decca.
Chick Churchill who was
Okay.
instrumental in that.
Okay.
I
Did any?
signed to Chrysalis
Oh,
for a very short period of time, and Chick was hawking me around, and there was a guy at Decca called Strath Hamilton, an Australian guy, and he really liked what I was doing. Well, I tell you what, he really liked what I was doing, and a guy John Darnley at EMI, and I'd gone to an EMI Christmas party. I'm in the toilet having a wee, and John Darnley comes in and stands next to me, and he said to me, "Steve Jameson." I went, "Yeah." He said, "Listen, I'm trying to get you a deal." He said, "Nick Mobbs, who was the governor there, is not crazy about it." He said, "But I really want to sign you, and I want you to record in America." And then,
oh,
oh my God, I went, because that would have been for me the perfect thing. He said, "That's where I believe you should be making records." Anyway, they said no, but Decca said yes, but they wanted my publishing as well. So Chick
oh,
Churchill said, right, he's spoken to the governors at Chrysalis. If we give them the advance back, I can't remember, it was only like £2,000 or something. We give them that back, they'll release you. But they keep the songs that you publish with them, which was fine. And so then I moved to Decca, two singles from
yeah.
there. And then they had a new head of A&R who just took an instant dislike to me
Oh,
on
okay.
a personal level. I just felt it. I just had a meeting with him, And I was sitting there thinking, God, I don't know what I've done. I've really rubbed him up the wrong way. He's just, and then
Okay.
they did the ultimate sin. I must have been the second or third single. And he phoned me up. He said, "Can you come into the office?" And he played it and they'd remixed it. And I sat there and I said, "What happened to the tambourine?" He said, "What are you talking about?" I said, "That's not the tambourine that I recorded." He said, "Why would you
Yeah.
say that?" I said, "Because the tambourine I recorded, the guy played it in time." And he said to me, so I got to be honest with you, he said, "I don't really like you. And I don't really like your music." He said, "But I've got to give him my respect." He went, "You're absolutely right." So they put some girls' backing voices on the track and lost over the
The
tambourine track.
tambourine.
And then somebody had to come in and redo the tambourine track, and they never played it in time. Like I think it was Tony Carr.
Yeah.
And then that was the end there. And after that, I couldn't get arrested. Punk had really started. The
Yeah.
closest I came to do
Yeah.
anything was
Yeah.
Mike Moran phoned me one day, and he said he'd spoken to Mike Batt, who was
Oh, Mike
producing the
Batt.
Wombles records,
Okay.
and Mike was doing something else. And he said to Mike Moran, "Do you want to take over making the Wombles records?" And Mike Moran phoned me up and he said to me, "Look, I know it's not your cup of tea normally," he said, "but do you fancy working with me?" And I love Mike Moran, great keyboard player, great musician. I'd love to, and it never happened. And that was
Yeah.
really the end of me in the music business. Because people
Oh,
say to me now, "Why did you leave the music business?" Well, I
yeah.
didn't. It left me.
It
You
lets
don't
you.
you don't leave the entertainment
Yeah.
business.
Yeah. That's right.
It leaves,
That's
the phone stops ringing. Nobody's
right.
interested in your songs.
Right.
Nobody wants you as a producer. You get a day job,
Yeah. 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 It's
basically.
not your choice. No. No. It's
Yeah,
you're.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I
Yeah.
mean, bringing it forward a bit, I had what nearly 15 years as what I call a civilian, and then I started doing stand-up comedy. So
Yeah.
I've been doing stand-up comedy now for nearly 30. I did 10 years as me, pretty much
Okay.
going nowhere. Then, then I created this character, Sol Bernstein,
Uh-huh.
and I'm busy. I'd like to slow down a bit. I'm nearly 80, and I've got work up to next October, already.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, what
Not
led
every
you
weekend or every week, but huh?
what what led you into stand up to begin with?
Well, I'd never. It was never a plan of mine. It was never. In fact, I've got a very interesting story, which I'll come. Shall I tell you now? Yeah, I'll tell you now. When
Okay.
the Truth split up because of personal circumstances, we were managed by Dave Nicholson and Ken Pitt. Now, Ken also managed David Bowie,
Okay.
and that was Space Oddity around from before that until just after. David left him just after Space Oddity because he had a down period after Space Oddity, and then went to Tony Secunda or so I don't know. But I phoned Ken up. Now this would have been 1970. Bearing in mind, I didn't get involved in the album till 71, 72. And I had dinner with Ken. He said, "Right, come and have dinner with me and David." David didn't turn up, but I had dinner with Ken. He said, "Tell me what you want to do." And I explained what I wanted to do. And he said to me, "Okay, here's what I think you should do." He said, "I'm going to send you over to America." He said, "I've got friends on the East Coast and the West Coast. You go for 3 weeks on the East Coast, 3 weeks on the West Coast. I'll pay all your expenses. I'll give you pocket money. My friends will take you to the clubs and you'll see different people. And you write down, make notes of what you like, what you didn't like. So when you come back, get some time with your family, then we'll get together and you'll tell me what you like, what you didn't like. We'll work up an act." And I remember and I went, "What the
Oh,
fuck are you talking about?" I said, "I can listen to the
yeah.
radio. I can buy Rolling Stone. I know what's going on in America through
Yeah.
Rolling Stone magazine,
Yeah.
Melody Maker, New Musical Express." He said to me, "Okay, here's the deal." He says, "If you want to be a singer, I don't want to manage you." He said, "If you want to be a comedian, I'll manage you." And I went, "Why would I want to be a comedian?" He said, "Because you're a funny man." And I went, "Well, in that case, we've got to part company." And it didn't occur to me for 20 odd years.
Yeah.
I was reminded of that story.
Oh,
I thought, my
okay.
God, what did Ken see? that I
Okay.
didn't. And the long and short of it was,
He,
I was having dinner with some friends pre-Christmas. I think a big relationship had just finished. I was down. It was, you know, and there was a girl there who was an actress, and she said to me, "Have you ever thought of doing stand-up comedy?" And I went, "No." I said, "But somebody suggested it years ago." She went, "I think you really should." I went, "Why?" I don't. She says, "You're a funny man." I said, "Well, if I wanted to do it, how would I get started?" She said, "Right, you
yeah,
get Time Out
yeah,
magazine comes out every week, and they
yeah,
show you workshops. Like someone start, Greg's doing a workshop
yeah,
starting in 2 weeks' time. He's looking
yeah.
for pupils." And I
Right.
bought the magazine. In fact, two things happened in between. One thing, I went down just after Christmas. I went to stay with my sadly now my late cousin. It was like the brother I never had. I'm an only child, and we were walking along the seafront in Brighton, and I was really down. And he said to me, "What is it?" I went, I don't know." I said, "I got two choices." I said, "Either become a stand-up comedian or I commit suicide." And he put his hands on my shoulders, looked me in the eye, went, "Commit suicide." At which point we both started crying with laughter and tears.
Crafting and lying, laughing
And
and
then I
crying.
came back, and I swear to you, I got back to London. I phoned Roger Greenaway.
Uh-huh.
I said, "Roger," I said, "Look, don't ask me how I am." I said, "Because I'm in a shit state, but I'm thinking of becoming a stand-up comedian." He said, "Should have done it years ago."
Oh,
I
he
went, "I've
did.
got your blessing." He said, "Of course you got my
Yeah,
blessing. I love you."
yeah, yeah. See?
And then in the January, I was buying Time Out, and there was a couple of workshops that I could have done, and I didn't. And then suddenly, at the end of the month, I thought, God, there probably won't be another one for 6 months for a new season, so I better do this one,
Yeah,
which I did. I went
yeah,
on that, and there was like
yeah.
10 like-minded people who'd never done stand-up before, and we tried it. And I was 46 at the time, so nobody was particularly looking for a middle-aged guy. So it wasn't the easiest 10 years of my life. And then I created this character who was supposed to be in his 80s, an old vaudeville Vegas
Yeah,
comic who's
yeah.
trying to be modern. And it didn't matter how old I was under the hat and the
Yes.
outfit. Do you know what I mean? I could have been 26 or 46.
Yeah.
Um, and he's kind of got ruder, less politically correct.
Uh-huh.
And it's just great fun. And I'm busy,
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm working. The phone
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
hasn't blown me out yet. Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean? It
right, right.
hasn't given
Well,
up on me.
yeah. Well, what I was going to say is sometimes other people see in you the potential that you don't see yourself. You know,
Yeah.
people were telling you you're funny, Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think I knew I was funny. I could tell jokes. My dad was even funnier. My dad should have been a comic.
Right, right, right. You should have said like when the girl said you're funny, funny how? What do you mean?
Yeah,
Do
yeah,
I
yeah,
amuse
yeah.
you?
Yeah,
Go
no,
ahead,
yeah,
that
yeah,
Joe
and shoot her in the
Pesci.
foot.
Joe Pesci. Joe Pesci. I thought of that. So sorry. Yeah. Do I amuse you? Yeah. No.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No. Wow. Okay. Well, talk a little bit about some of the biggies that you've come in the graces of, like Rat Pack, Lenny Bruce in
Well, no,
particular.
no, that's right. Here's the no.
Okay,
It's all
okay.
bullshit.
Oh, it's okay.
When
I
I first
wondered.
started,
Yeah.
just when I started doing the character, I got a part in a
Uh,
movie,
okay.
a movie called Susie Gold, which was an English production, and the lead man in it took a liking to me, and I was explaining that I've got this character, and he said to me, "What's the backstory?" And I went, "What do you mean?" He said, "Who is he?" I said, "Just the man." He went, "No, no, no." And he was. That's all it was. And then when he kind of talked me round, and I thought, okay, who is he? He's a guy he was a stand-up comedian. He was an all-round entertainer. Because in years ago, there'd have been an all-round entertainer. He'd sing, he would dance, do
Uh-huh.
magic. So I've told all
Okay.
bullshit stories. Like I worked with the Marx
Okay.
Brothers. I worked with Lenny Bruce,
Okay. All right.
Barbara Streisand, Elvis.
Yeah.
Elvis, I had a
Elvis.
catchphrase. Why don't you
Uh-huh.
put on a tie? And I said, I told Elvis, why don't you put on a tie? I said,
Okay.
then the schmuck joins the army and to wear a tie and just just man thing. So
Yeah.
basically, that's a backstory. It's
Oh, that's
yeah.
okay.
Sadly,
So,
I never knew any of those people.
oh, that's part of your stick. Okay,
Yeah,
okay, okay.
yeah.
All right.
It
Well,
just
I'll
gives
keep.
it gives it gives because I've had it where I remember working one night in somewhere near Birmingham, and I got there and it was a restaurant, and I said, you get a free meal as well. And I went, oh great, okay. And I go, and the guy comes out of the kitchen. I see he's wiping his hands. He's the chef, and he went, "This is Mr. Bernstein." And I went, "Yeah." He said, "What was Elvis like?"
Right. Okay.
And I
Okay.
went, "What do you
Yeah.
mean?" He went, "How?" I went, "I don't fucking know." I said, "I just never." I said, and he went, "Oh my god!" He said, "You must think I'm an idiot." I went, "No,
Yeah.
no." I said,
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
backstory sounds believable."
Yeah. Yeah.
The
Okay.
guy played in
Yeah.
Vegas. He played in Carnegie
Right.
Hall.
Right.
He played here, there. He was in show business. He was, a nightclub performer.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't it? Why wouldn't he have met these people?
Yes. Right. Right. Gotcha. Okay. Okay. Well, I'll leave that in the intro then. I won't take it out. I'll leave it in there.
Yeah, yeah. It's been great. I've been loving it. It's been lovely talking to you.
Okay. Yeah, well, yeah, I thought, before we started, I was going to ask you about that. This is all true, huh? This is all these people. Yeah. But I said, well, it's on his website. So, yeah, you
Yeah,
know,
I'd have to be probably 90 odd.
I was going to say, yeah, you need to be a little bit
Yeah.
older. Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
at the moment, we're running about 10 years behind. Soul's supposed to be 89 now.
Okay. Okay.
I announced that on New Year's Eve. So I just celebrated my 89th birthday.
Okay.
He was 84 for years. I mean,
Yeah.
years, like 15 years. And I thought I really should go. I'm playing clubs where I've played before, and people are thinking, I thought sure he was 84. No, he's 88 now. Okay. I'm gonna put it up every year
Oh, okay. Okay.
from now
What,
on.
well, what circuit do you perform? Do you still come up? Do you come to the States?
No, no.
Okay,
The
just
only
over there.
time I ever did this, I did the States as me.
Okay. Okay.
I did a couple of shows in New York.
Okay.
Um, basically, I went there with my son. I took my son there for his 21st birthday, which would have been 1999.
Okay. Okay.
And then I went back in 2000. And in fact, I did go back. I went back 10 years ago. And do you know an American comedian called Rich Hall?
Oh, yes, I do. Yes. Yes.
Rich
Yes.
was Rich was
Yeah.
part of. He wrote the books, The Sniglets,
Yeah. He was part of a comedy
and he
troupe.
was on.
What was it?
He and he was with Saturday Night Live.
Yes. I'm trying to think. Comedian. He was, yes. Who was he? He was in, I'm just looking. I can delete this out. American Promise, Prominence, a sketch comedian. Uh, Fridays was a comedy show that we had over, not necessarily the news. Yeah, and Saturday Night Live. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, yes, yes, yes. I
Yeah,
do
well, he
remember.
married an
Yeah.
English woman, and he
Okay.
lives in Montana, but they had a
Okay.
place in London. So I got to know him over the years, and he's lovely. Been a good friend to me.
Ah, okay.
But he
But
recommended me. He recommended me in '99 to a
oh,
couple of clubs, and they booked me. No money or anything, but it was
yeah,
just interest, and that was doing me.
okay,
And I
okay.
remember doing the comic strip
All
where
right.
Jerry Seinfeld had started, and Eddie Murphy.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
the guy said to me, there was an American comedian who now is quite successful, Mark Maron.
Yeah, I know Mark.
If
I
you
know.
know
I mean, I
him,
know of him. Yeah.
he
Yeah.
does a famous podcast, doesn't he? And he
Yes.
said to me, let's have a drink. And I said, I've got to get down to Greenwich Village to play the Boston Comedy Club. He said, they're going to hate you there. He says, you're clean, you're an uptown comic. And he was
Yeah.
right. I went there. Oh, they hate him. I was with my son, and I did so
Yeah.
well at the comic strip.
Yeah.
But they had me back on the Saturday at that the Boston Comedy Club, and it worked. I don't know why. And the guy at the comic strip, I phoned him the next day. He said, I heard you were really good. I'm going to thank Rich for you. I said, look, I'm here for another 3 nights. Could I come back and do another show? He went, give me a ring next time you're in town. And I went, I live in London.
Yeah.
I'm not in town.
You're
And he
not
made
in
a whole
doubt.
thing. And I went, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I think I went back. I went back the following year. Or maybe, yeah. And I didn't do anything. I didn't play any clubs. And then Rich Hall recommended me about 10 years ago. And the woman who I emailed never even replied.
Oh, really? Okay. Hmm.
So consequently, I think I just went with Wendy and we just had 4 or 5 days in New York.
Yeah.
And that was it. Yeah, listen, I travel enough up and down the country. I don't
Yeah.
need to try and start a new career. I'm not ambitious. I'm
No.
happy to be playing. You know, people book me to go up north. I'll go, and I'm working 2-3 nights a week, and that at my age it's enough.
Oh, yeah. That keeps you busy. That right
Yeah,
there.
television's not looking for an old guy. They want young. They just want young.
Yeah.
I'm not an idiot. I'm aware of what the situation is. The interesting thing is that how many young people approach me after a gig,
Hmm.
want to chat, have a photo taken, and you're thinking, hang on a second,
Yeah.
I'm doing something right here. How come
Yeah.
nobody's noticing this? Is there what they're going to do if we start developing a TV show? I may be dead by the time the show starts recording.
Right.
I'm not 25 anymore.
No, no, no.
But
Well,
it's
so this,
great fun. And to be honest
yeah,
with you, Greg, when
yeah,
Mark and I were 9 years old, we wanted to be on the stage,
yeah,
and we both did it. I'm still doing it,
yes,
and
yes,
he did it. So
yeah,
I
right,
genuinely no complaints. I'm thank goodness, touch wood. I'm not
right.
starving. I
No,
can afford
no,
to eat. We can afford to go on a holiday
yeah,
once, twice
you're,
a year.
yeah,
Um,
you're doing what you like, that's what it's
yeah,
about. Yeah,
doing what I
yeah,
love. Yeah, and
yeah,
as I say,
yeah,
it hasn't. The phone hasn't stopped ringing yet. It hasn't
yeah,
blown me out yet.
yeah. You've got a good
Which no,
niche.
because people make, yeah,
Yeah,
people make a thing. Why did you leave the music business? No, I never left the music business.
it left you.
It left me.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
the entertainment business: singing, dancing, actors,
yeah.
comics. That's the way it is.
Right, right. I can see that too because with an audience, I mean, with a band, you're a singer, you're interacting with the audience, and you get that immediate gratification. Same thing with a stand-up comic. You
More
get
more
that
so,
feedback.
more so
Yeah,
because
right.
yeah,
Yeah,
because I mean I remember even with Frank, sometimes you could tell an audience didn't like us, but we
yeah.
were entertaining each other and the
Each
band.
other,
When you're a
each other.
stand up, it's
Yeah,
just you and the audience. Just
it's just you. The spotlight's on you, isn't
yeah. And
it? Right.
I have the odd tough night. I mean, it
Yeah,
doesn't. I don't kill every night.
yeah,
Touch wood, most nights I do, but you get
yeah,
the odd night where you can. There's just an element of the audience
yeah,
that are not crazy about you, and it kind of spreads for some reason.
yeah, yeah. Wow. All right. When there's enough comedy spots over there to
Yeah, there's a lot of clubs up and down the country.
okay, enough clubs. Yeah, yeah. Do they have an improv? Is there an improv over there?
No, but there are clubs that do improv.
Okay, okay. Do
There,
improv.
there
Okay.
was there was actually an improv club, which I think who was it? Was it Bud Freeman
Yeah,
had
but
the
yeah,
original improv in New York,
yeah. I think so. I think he
and
is.
then moved to then had one in LA, and then
Yeah.
somebody did like a franchise here. But that
Ah,
didn't last very long.
okay, okay.
But there are still clubs that they do improv nights.
Yeah,
That's where soul was created actually.
yeah.
Um, in an improv troupe, we were all trying different characters. I think I'd been watching Billy Crystal doing the Jewish weatherman on Saturday Night Live, and of course Mel
Okay.
Brooks, the 2,000-year-old man.
Oh man, yeah. Classic.
And that's
Yeah.
basically where Soul's accent came from. That kind of old Eastern European Jewish man who
Yeah,
lived in Brooklyn or the Bronx. So you got
yeah,
that little bit of a foreign accent with
yeah.
some twangy New York sort of accent. Yeah,
Yes,
it took
yeah,
me a long time to nail. I think I pretty much nailed it now.
yeah,
It took me
yeah,
a long time. Just
yeah.
words. I
Right.
remember an Irish comic said to me one night, he said, it's glasses, not glasses.
Yeah, that's right.
And I couldn't get a hang of it.
You couldn't at
Yeah, it's
first, yeah.
my glasses, not glasses. Hey, glasses. Like Rich Horse, hey, fucking glasses.
Yeah,
Oh,
You're,
you'd have to be really careful not to give any clues to the
yes,
audience. Once they pick up on that, and then you lose that kind of credibility.
credibility, yeah, is everything. Yeah, you're right. Well, it always blows my mind too how British actors, UK, can do the American accent. I mean, it's like, wow, I mean, they do it better than we do our own. I mean, it's just so, and
Well, I
I
don't know
know
about
we,
that. Yeah, but when you look back at like Dick Van Dyke doing an English accent,
yeah, yeah,
it was laughable. It was, it
yeah,
wasn't good.
it wasn't. You're right. I think we have a harder time doing yours than you do ours,
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. So, well, I want to say continued success with that, Steve and
bless you.
Saul.
Thank you.
Both of you. Yeah, and
You're a great
I,
interview.
well,
I've really enjoyed this. Thank you so much
well,
for getting in touch with me.
it's always my pleasure. And like I said, I like to hear your story and your journey and share it, with the viewers. So that's what it's really all about. So anything that you want to, stay in touch, anything that you'd like to keep me abreast of, keep me posted on any uh, developments,
Development. Okay.
anything at all, and do stay in touch. And I will send you a copy of this probably this time next week. Uh,
Wonderful.
Edit it a little bit, and then it'll be on my channel, and then you can post it wherever you'd like to as well. As well.
Okay.
Does that
That's
sound good?
brilliant. Brilliant.
All
Yeah,
right.
that sounds brilliant. Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
All right, Steve, and all the best to you. All right.
You too, my friend.
All
God
right.
bless.
Cheers.